What's going on, YouTube? Got a very interesting and highly requested topic that I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to take you guys through 2 days of what a typical practice session looks like for me. I'm going to session some whips on the ramp a little bit. I'm going to take the 450 out, do some wheelies, kind of keep sharpening the sword. And as you guys can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to talk about why I choose not to do any of the FMX tricks or flips or anything like that. I know it's a highly commented topic in my comment section, so I wanted to kind of use this as a chance to talk about it. So stay tuned to the end of this video to hear me talk about that, and make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Anyways, I'm gonna throw you guys on board. Hope you guys enjoy. For anybody wondering, I always go straight to that one now because it's kind of like my warm-up jump before I hit anything. Just because you kind of hit it like a ramp, but it's dirt, so kind of get the best of both worlds there. Always so like stale air the first time I hit a ramp, no matter what. It's just such a different feeling. Landing's nice though. I'm really stoked on it. Huge shout out to Chad at CGI facility for tuning that thing up, because that thing's pretty nice now. Every time I come out, I always try to like warm up properly. I know some dudes come out and just like go hard the first or second hit. I just don't really agree with that method, so I try to keep it chill. Basically, for me to warm up, I go out and I do like very baby of what I'm trying to do, like a baby version of it, just to kind of get the timing down in my head. So like that was a little slow. Forgot what I was doing. Jesus. Oh my gosh, my rear end just flicked out. I went too hard. Okay, so today I'm going to be trying out the handbrake right here. I've ridden one with a handbrake maybe twice. I wasn't a fan at all, but I feel like with the handbrake I might be able to actually do like the wheelie landings on this bike, because I can really only do them properly on the 450. I don't know if it's the power delivery or like what, the too much torque on this or what, but I can't really do them on this bike, at least with the foot brake setup. So I'm gonna try it with the handbrake here and just kind of see how it is. It's gonna be kind of a trip for me to figure out. That's funny. I went to hit a jump for the first time to tap my rear brake and nothing was there. Oh, it's weird. I don't know if I'm liking it.
I might have to two-finger it. I'm used to being like this, kind of like a triangle, like you're doing a triangle push-up almost. Like how I am now. And honestly, with where my start button's set up, because when I take my hands off, I don't want to, like when I'm jumping, I moved it over so I don't hit it when I'm like jumping or whatever. I can't move this in much more, and it's kind of just in an awkward position. Usually I'd grab like right here. Now I gotta grab like out here. It's just weird. Minor inconvenience. Probably just an excuse I'm giving myself to not be able to do this. I can see where that could be potentially beneficial. Oh, that's trippy. I'm mega whiskey throttle with it. That's so sketchy. I did have this idea where I wanted to do a whip knack and handy dip at the same time, which is only going to be possible with the hand rear brake. So I might give that a shot here. We'll see. Okay, I went and grabbed the gas bike while the start's on the charger, just because I kind of want to get this wheelie clip. It's bothering me a little bit. I kind of also want to see the difference between the power and the power delivery and see, because I know in my head and what I can feel, like just thinking about it, this thing makes more sense to me and it feels easier. God, that was sketchy. Too slippery. Okay, it's too slippery for a stoppie.
Okay, so that's gonna wrap up today's video. Kind of just another little practice session I decided to film and throw up on YouTube, but I do have a talking point that I want to kind of discuss. I get these comments 10, 20, 30 times a day at a minimum. Why don't I backflip? Why don't I do a 360? Why don't I do anything other than a whip? And I'm gonna answer that right now. It is because I don't consider myself a freestyle rider. Even though, as you see in the background here, I am prepping my FMX ramp. But I wanted to kind of hop on here and give you guys a little bit of a backstory to why I don't really do tricks or, you know, flips or any of that stuff that a normal freestyle rider would do. So go back a couple years, 2022, I was racing outdoor nationals. I was in the 450 class. My last national was Redbud, and actually while I was on the gate at Redbud, I decided, you know what, I am completely over this. I don't want to race anymore. Tired of spending money. I don't enjoy it at all. And it just genuinely didn't make like any sense to me anymore to continue to pursue the professional and quote unquote professional, because you make absolutely $0 doing it unless you are the top 10. Other than that, you are in the negatives regardless. I don't care who you are. I don't care what privateer you are more than likely in the negatives. With special exceptions like someone like a Kevin Moran's or someone that actually has like outside sponsors and kind of knows what they're doing marketing wise, you're making zero money. So I decided, you know what, I just want to ride my bike, have fun, and I'm just gonna post stuff, whatever I think is cool, and see where it goes from there. I was still, you know, basically working a full-time job at that point, and I was just, you know, I just wanted to essentially show off how much fun you can have on two wheels without racing and without having to do like the craziest tricks, flips, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to ride my bike and make it look sick. Growing up, I always looked up to riders like Justin Bogle, Dino, Josh Hansen, which I still look up to all these dudes. You know, Tyler Barriman. Barriman is probably my biggest inspiration for sure. Barriman and a little bit of Hanny. Honestly, every single one of those dudes I mentioned, I have basically bitten their style completely. So if they ever see this, I'm sorry, but I at least can admit that. But basically, I honestly didn't really have intentions to get to the level I'm at now. I kind of just wanted to make it look super, super cool. I did have X Games Best Whip on my mind. I really wanted to do that because obviously mentioning Tyler Barriman, he used to be a racer. He's made Supercross mains before. I really, really looked up to him, and he was doing the best whip thing. He was doing it, but in a way that like looked sick. I was never really that into like the best whip whatever growing up. I'd watch it, especially when it was more racers like Josh Grant, James Stewart, Carmichael did it, but it was mainly more like a racer thing. And then it kind of turned into like a freestyle, and some of those dudes had funky styles, and it just looked more like a freestyle trick. I wasn't really into it. But then like Tyler Barriman came along, and he was doing it, and he still had like the 653, the race numbers on, and he looked like a racer. And that, I think back in like 2019, he won it in Minneapolis. And I remember watching that, and I was like, man, I really want to be like that guy. I don't want to do tricks. I just want to be like that guy. So, you know, 2022 rolled around. I was over racing. I was like, you know what? I kind of just want to do like the free ride thing. I just want to make bikes look sick and have fun. Go to the track, do little tech wheelie stuff, you know, basically all the stuff that I learned at the training facilities growing up, MTF, DPF. I stayed at club for a little bit. The wheelie landings and stuff, I actually learned that. A lot of people come and say, oh, you're copying Axel, blah, blah, blah. No, huge shout out to Axel. He was probably the biggest and the best at doing that, and he's the one that brought the spotlight to it. But I remember this is kind of what got me to learn a lot of that stuff. Was back at MTF, we would learn how to like land in a wheelie, or like pick our front end up over something and miss bumps, and we'd land in a wheelie and set it over the next single, or do stuff like that. And that's kind of where I picked it up from, because we would practice that pretty often along with like slow wheelies and stuff. So the very first time I did like the wheelie landings, it was all basically inspired from like Colleen Millsaps and all the stuff that we learned at MTF. Now, I do get where everybody's coming from, and after I kind of realized like what it looked like, I was like, oh man, I kind of look like I'm just copying Axel. So I apologize for that, because I never intended to be that guy. But the skills that I did pick up at MTF and all the training facilities kind of made something like that more, I don't want to say more doable, but it Like I look at something, be like, oh, I can land in a wheelie here and then do this, and that'll be a cool video. So that's kind of where that came from. All the stuff I learned there, I'm gonna just go and film it and post it, because when we were training and working on it, nobody was there with a camera, at least at that point. This was back in 2014, 15, 16, from like 14 through like 18, 19. But I always we'd always go and work sections, and I'd always love working sections, and I'd always usually be one of the better riders at just doing a single section or doing something technical. But when I went out and did a moto, I just never had the endurance. I don't know if I just never put in enough hard work, or if I just really didn't like racing, I guess. It just never really clicked for me. And especially after I got hurt when I was like 16, I broke my femur really bad due to another rider cross jumping me. That kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth that I don't really like being around other people on the track and racing. I've since gotten over that. But anyways, yeah, fast forward to like 2022, 2023, I just wanted to portray dirt bikes the best way I could and what I love doing without having to like do a, you know, backflip. I personally look at stuff like the freestyle tricks where they're taking their arms and legs and all the limbs off, and it's great, and no disrespect at all of those guys, because those guys honestly have been some of the nicest humans ever to me. I look at it and I'm like, it's crazy. Doesn't really pique my interest at all. Obviously those guys have different goals than me. They are more focused on doing the shows and, you know, riding the airbags, and that's where they make their money. That's where those guys are making a living, and it's awesome for them. For me, it just never, I don't know, the freestyle thing just never really piqued my interest. I was a huge Travis Pastrana fan growing up because he was a racer and because he was such a good racer, and it wasn't so like freestyle stuff just never piqued my interest, and it still doesn't really at all. I know I'm, like I said earlier, I'm walking in front of a ramp, but the only reason I was riding the ramp was to try to get into X Games Best Whip, because of what I said previously. I really looked up to like the racer guys and that, and I really just wanted to be like them and, you know, check that off my bucket list. X Games in general was never really like top of the totem pole for me. It wasn't like, oh, I made it, you know, I go and win X Games, I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I want to win. I'm doing the best whip thing because I do want to win something. I think it would be awesome to say that I have the best whip in the world, but that doesn't technically move the needle too much for me. For me in general, it's just about making the sport look as fun as possible without the pressure of chasing an endless race schedule or just like these crazy tricks. It's just, you know, if I could invent something to where, if I could invent a category to where it's like style moto or like style cross, that sounds dumb, but I just make it look fun, sick, basically free riding without the tricks. Free riding and freestyle are very similar. From 99% of the population, there is no difference. Free riding's more going out in the hills, finding a jump with your buddies, shoveling. That's a totally different scene than like the shows and demos and freestyle. I don't consider myself to slot into any of those. I kind of just consider myself a rider that likes to show off how fun two wheels is. And if you work hard, you can be, you know, the sky's the limit for how good you can be. And everything's subjective as well, even all the way down to best whip. Best whip's completely subjective. That's why I say it's not the end goal for me. It's not the top of the totem pole, because it doesn't matter. As long as something gets you stoked to ride, like say if I go out and do something and you guys watch it and you're like, man, I want to learn that, or I want to go out and ride because of this video just got me so pumped up. That's all I care about. I don't, you know, I'm gonna go hang a gold medal on the wall and look at it till I'm dead. Cool. It doesn't move the needle. And that sounds bad. I don't know if bad's the right word. It sounds negative, and I'm not trying to make it sound negative at all. I just understand that it doesn't, the competition side of things doesn't matter too much. At least to me, it doesn't. I don't care too much. Like I said, I do want to win. That's the competitor in me. That's the racer in me. Everybody wants to win, but there can only be one winner, and in something so subjective, it's kind of hard, you know, to have that make sense to where it's something you're chasing 24/7. Long story short, I just want to make this sport look as fun as possible. That's my main and only goal for the entire time that I'm on two wheels. And I feel, in my own personal opinion, I'm accomplishing that day after day. And I'm very proud of myself for what one, I've taught myself and learned on a bike, and two, for the way that I'm portraying it. I'm very stoked on how I'm doing so far. I'm very proud of myself. But to answer you guys' questions, I don't think you'll ever see me doing tricks or flips or any of that. I don't like saying never, because if there was a crazy special opportunity and I had to go, say, do a backflip, I'm sure I could go and learn it pretty quickly. It's not something I would want, you know, or I would pitch at all, ever. But if there was a crazy whatever opportunity, I'm never gonna say never, but for now, like, I have zero interest in it. And I kind of wanted to just put this out there so I don't have to answer this question. Or honestly, not so I don't have to answer this question, it's more so like just to have this information available. So if you are curious, it's out there. I have had opportunities to go out and like ride a FMX show. Did it once for a buddy out of a good heart, and I ended up with a broken foot. And I just knew, like, yeah, that is not my style, not my speed at all. The dudes that do that, they make very good money doing it, and I 100% see why those guys do it, because, and they continue to learn bigger and better tricks, because the bigger tricks you learn, the more your value goes up and the more you can get out of doing a show. But to me, obviously, like I said, doesn't really interest me at all. Not what I'm going for, not what I'm trying to do. So that answers that. Anyways, sorry for pacing around, but thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or questions, drop them down below. I'm more than happy to read and respond to them. I find it interesting to read some of your guys' comments that are actually genuinely curious about stuff like this. Like I said, more than happy to answer them. So make sure to like and subscribe as well, and I will catch you guys in the next video.